He's my miracle, and that's what I have to think about. You know, before he was 4 months old, they said he wasn't gonna come out of the hospital, he wasn't gonna make it. They told us, you know, he'd never talk, he'd never eat by mouth, you know, he'll never walk, he'll never do this. And there's still a lot of things he hasn't done, but, you know, he taught himself how to whistle, he eats like a crazed maniac. He's really happy, he loves school, he communicates in his own way, and he's just constantly making strides. And you're pretty darn cute. That's a good one, right? Eddie suffered an accident when he was 3.5 months old and spent 2.5 weeks in the hospital in Kansas City. He was sedated for the better part of that, and you know, he had a severe traumatic brain injury, and they told us that he wasn't going to make it. While he was in the hospital, the whole family was under investigation because they felt that it couldn't have happened the way that we said. It couldn't have been from a fall. They decided that it was shaken baby and that was it. And that was another part that was really jarring because there's, you know, no one in my family that would hurt my child. I would never hurt my child. When he got discharged from the hospital, he was actually discharged to a foster family, and that was really rough. That he was away from us for a day and a half, and that was probably the worst day and a half of my life. Most of my day would consist of, you know, holding him, feeding him, taking him to doctor's appointments. There were times that, you know, we had to go to Kansas City 3 times a week. There were a lot of sleepless nights. About 1.5 years ago, when I finally was just exhausted and so low and everything, I finally accepted help and said, okay, we can get a nurse. So we got our first nurse, and she was fine. She was amazing. But the problem was it kind of threw me into a spiral of, well, now there's this person here to do everything I was doing. What's my role? Why should I even get up in the morning? And so then I stopped getting up in the morning sometimes. I'd stay in bed all day because I could. I went and saw the therapist that I was seeing, and, you know, I looked at her and asked her point blank, what do you do with somebody who wants to die? It was near the end of the session, and she just kind of blew me off and said, oh, well, I would tell them not to do anything stupid, but it's 4 o'clock, so I need to go because my next person is here. And that just, you know, just kind of set the ball rolling for what happened next. I make them think you're a nice boy. If the professional who's supposed to be taking care of you doesn't even realize, you know, what's going on when you ask a pointed question like that, who can you really turn to? You know, you're encouraged to get help, but when the help isn't listening, you know, what do you do? The next morning, I took a bunch of pills, and the moment that last pill hit my throat, I was like, that was a dumb thing to do. That is not what I wanted to do. This is a mistake. And so I quickly got a ride to the hospital and went through the process of having a charcoal milkshake and drinking that down because the alternative is stomach pumping, and that's not very fun either. So then I was sent to one of our fine psychiatric institutions in the state, which ended up being almost more traumatic than anything else. Looking back, I feel like I really had to hit that lowest point to get out of it. I had to go to a place that was way outside my experience and my comfort zone to realize that the things that I was facing weren't that bad, and that at least things could get better where I was at. You know, as low as you get, and, you know, you still have logical moments where you're like, oh wait, suicide is the most selfish thing to do in the world. It's not about, you have to think about all the other people that you're leaving behind. And, I just tried to focus on that he needed me, and he needed me to get better and fight for him and take care of him. And people want to care for you, but they don't necessarily know how. And so it becomes tricky in finding the right ways to do that. I feel guilty that I had to, lose my shit and go to the hospital and not be here for him and for our son. And so it's just, it's been hard. I'm in a good spot right now. But it's true, things can get better. They do get better, and he's proof of that. So you're always getting better, right? I look forward to the surprises, not knowing, like, this could be the day that he gets up and, starts talking or walking or crawling or sits up by himself, whatever. I'll take it. But I guess, I know that he's got so much potential, and, I look forward to the day that he starts crawling, and then I'll have to barricade everything, but it'll be worth it. I'll be happier than I'll be, annoyed, obviously. I know he'll walk. I know he won't be in a wheelchair forever. I can say that now, and because he's really mobile and squealy. He's not going to have, an average life, but who wants to have an average life? He'll just do things in his time and be normal for him, right?